guitar.
Hey!
Hello!
Welcome to
Dude!
Sweet
Sweet
Guitar! I'm James Volpe Rotondi. They call me Roto. I play with the band Humble Pie, and this to my left is Philip Shouse.
And I do want to thank James Roto Volpe Rotondi for having so many names and for being the Starsky to my Hutch. Thanks for joining us. This is episode numero uno, that's Spanish for number one, that we've done. So hopefully this will be fun for us and you, the viewer, as well.
Yeah, we're gonna be playing cool guitars. We're looking for guitars kind of the same stripe, if you will.
As you can see,
We've got some Explorers here.
Fine example.
Yes.
Right here. We're going to talk about these. We're going to go inside and outside of them, and talk about them. We're going to talk about gear. We're going to talk about just guitars and dudes and dudettes, I suppose. So
Yeah,
here we go.
We're gonna be talking about life on the road. We're gonna be talking about getting a great tone. Now we're gonna be talking about specifically about getting a great rock tone, because we are rockers, and we're gonna be playing a lot of rock and roll guitar, talking about different ways of getting great tones, and that includes
Profilers, modelers, tubes, pedals.
Yep.
All the above.
Yeah.
So we're going to go through, we're going to run the gamut, as they say. I hope I said that wrong, actually.
I think it's gamut.
Gamut.
It's a gamut. No, that's the Swedish death metal version of it.
It is.
So we'll be talking about different kinds of guitars. Today we've got a pair of Gibson Explorers. In fact, we've got a third Explorer, which is a very special one, which we're going to show you in just about a second.
Right.
Phil, tell us a little bit about your Gibson Explorer.
So this is mine. These actually belong to us.
Yep.
That's Roto's. This is mine. Mine is, I think it's a 99 or a 2000 76 reissue. And this is the first, whoa, nice guitar. Sweet guitar that I own. A really wonderful friend of mine, Kevin Young, gave this to me, and he's since passed away. So I
Props
will
to
never,
Kevin. I
ever,
miss him
ever
too.
get rid of this guitar.
Great guy, lovely guy, Kevin.
And this is a wonderful guitar. I've absolutely beat this thing to hell and back. I've not cleaned it in forever, because you can see the dust here and all the sweat marks on the back here. The pickups, this one's stock. I think it's a 496R. Or whatever, T, whatever thing.
Yeah, the T-types, yeah.
And this one is a Seymour Duncan 78 Custom with evenly voiced harmonics.
You know what that means. It means...
Fun acronym right there for you playing at home.
Yeah.
And so that's what this one is. It's a great pickup. So yeah, I love this guitar. I've absolutely done countless gigs and countless hours and sweat, as you can probably see in here. Just grimy and dirty. I'll probably never ever clean it. So
Beautiful.
I love it.
It's a gorgeous example of an Explorer. Now, Explorers are fascinating guitars. It is curious to note that although these days we think of Explorers as pretty badass, there's different types of Explorers. Now, since Gibson first put it out, we've had...
In 58.
Yes, in 58, but I'm going to get right to that.
Yep.
But we've had Hamers, and we've had the Ibanez Iceman. These guitars all take their cues from the Explorer. But what's interesting, Phil, is that when the Explorer was first released in 1958, there was two new models out of Gibson. There was the Flying V, and there was the Explorer. Now, interestingly, both...
They still look like they're from the future, too. It's
I
like
know
it's
they
amazing
do.
they're that old, and they're still as trailblazing as they were back
Exactly. They were meant to be space-age guitars, right? And ironically, though, the Flying V got off to a flying start in the marketplace.
then. See what you've done there.
Get out of here. Anyway, the Explorer most definitely didn't. The first year, they only shipped 22 Explorers. The next year, in 59, only 3. In fact, only something like 38 original run Explorers exist at all.
So the mythical 58 Carina Explorer, there's
a handful,
20,
a relative
of them?
handful. Rick Nielsen of Cheap Trick, who is of course a well-known proponent of the Explorer, owns I think 2 or 3 of those. And they were, yes, you're right, originally made of Carina wood, which is a very special sort of slightly rare African type of wood.
Yeah.
And
Not Korean wood. It's something that's
no, carina. Carina. You know, carina in Italiano means very pretty. Ma allora,
Does it
la
really?
donna è molto carina. Yeah, it
Did
means
you know
pretty.
that? I didn't know that.
Well, there's things you need to know. Anyway.
Is that like gabagool?
Hey, gabagool, yeah, that's a whole
what
different
gabagool
thing.
is.
Don't get me started on gabagool. But what's interesting is that since then, there have been reissues of the Carina model. In fact, Gibson has a current Carina model. But much more likely, you're going to see what you're seeing on my Explorer, which is this lovely mahogany. They've been made with mahogany for a long time.
Rich
Similar,
mahogany.
Rich mahogany. Yes, I use a little N dust on this to get the dust off. So this guitar is practically brand new. Mark Agnesi at Gibson, thank you very much, Mark, helped hook me up with this stellar
You've
Explorer.
had that about a year, I think.
Only about a year.
Yeah.
And I saw it at the Gibson garage up on that beautiful mounting ring that they have, this assembly line, if you will, of beautiful garden. I saw this one.
When in Nashville,
Yeah.
visit the Gibson garage in
Yes.
Cummins Station. Gotta go.
Absolutely incredible place. And man, I just fell in love with it, and I realized, wow, where has an Explorer been all my life? And I'll tell you, man, I bought it partly because they're just so beautiful. I did make one modification. Other than that, it's the stock Gibson with, I believe, the burst buckers are in here still. Is this not the burst buckers?
I'm sure it'd be
Yeah.
the burst buckers, yeah. those are the
And
go-tos.
but I'm very fond of tortoiseshell, and I love tortoiseshell pickguards. These typically come in either a white, like Phil has, or a black one, which our buddy Damon Johnson has
That's right.
on his Explorer, which is a gorgeous Explorer. Which, of course, if you don't know Damon Johnson and his playing,
You really should.
you really should. He's the I've often said he's the Cristiano Ronaldo of hard rock.
Very nice.
He does everything well. Anyway, I bought this from a third-party dealer and slapped on this beautiful tortoise, and now it is the Roto Explorer, I'm happy to say. And other than that, the great surprise is, man, and you know this as well as I do, how great these things play.
Yes.
You look at them, you think, oh, it's going to be a little awkward. It just isn't.
Yep,
I
no,
don't
they're
know
great.
why, but
you
it
have
just
a strap
isn't.
handy by any chance?
I
If
certainly
not,
do.
In the next segment, we'll do that. So let's go
Sounds
ahead and play
great.
some. Yeah.
But what we were playing earlier when we jumped on the show here is a really badass riff from a song called Stone Cold Fever. And that's from a band that I'm very honored to be playing lead guitar in these days, along with Dave Bucket Caldwell, great guitarist from Bad Company. And I've been doing that for a few years. And one of the songs I enjoy doing the most, and Phil pulled this one out of the hat today, is Stone Cold Fever, which has a little kind of transition section that goes like this.
A little something like this.
A little something like this.
Count us off, Roto.
3, 4. Now, what's interesting about that is, you might hear this as your sort of traditional pentatonic power riff, right? On the fundamental, it's just. Now, you could also play that coming basically out of your blues scale, right? But Peter Frampton happened to be in the band, and Peter Frampton just has a unique ear. He always has. He still has it.
Sure.
Interesting thing about Frampton, I've spoken to Frampton on a number of occasions, and he wouldn't be the guy to tell you that comes out of the pentatonic or that comes out of the Dorian
A
mode.
lot of those guys don't know.
Yeah.
They just do it because it's what they've done and somehow
Yes.
stumbled upon it. Went, oh, that sounds cool. It's pretty amazing when you
It's
think about
incredible.
all that.
His ear is just so good, and
Because
just
he sounds like a jazz player to me sometimes. And
Exactly.
He's
And he-
probably not doing it. He's like, no, I just playing.
But he
blues."
loves jazz, and he
Yeah.
picked up jazz strictly through his ear. And so one jazzy sort of thing that he does here is just this idea of doing, and it's not necessarily a jazzy idea, in fact, it's a classical music idea really, is playing a harmony in thirds. This is one of the fundamentals of playing guitar harmony, which is something that Phil and I hope to show you more and more of in every episode. In this case, the guitars start out in unison. Let's just play the first line. 3, 4. Okay, just like that, super simple. So Frampton does an interesting thing though. On the second line, he adds a harmony in thirds. So if you're here on the E, right, where's the major third? It's right here. It's that beautiful A flat. Right, but in this case, and he follows the line in thirds and then goes back to playing on thirds on top of the pentatonic scale like this. The next time they pass through the line, he plays it in an octave. And the last time, he plays the third an octave up. Getting a little bit of that blues double stop, right? That pentatonic double stop.
All the while, the lower part, what I'm playing, doesn't change. I'm playing the exact same line every time, and Roto's part is one doing all the moving. So
that's right, and that would have been played by the great Steve Marriott, of course, who one of the most powerful rhythm guitar sounds in history. He's famous as one of the greatest singers in history, a hero to Robert Plant and Chris Robinson and
Paul Stanley,
Kevin Dubrow. I mean, go on and on. But anyway, also a fantastic guitarist.
Yeah.
So that's our little harmony lesson for today.
We're going to do more of those on our Patreon page. So if you want to get more in depth with harmonies and actually do some maybe lessons with us, check out that as well. We have that as well. But we want to do a little teaser for you today.
Yeah, so that's the kind of thing you can do. Now, an Explorer is particularly good for this type of sound because an Explorer is a nice fat Les Paul type sound, but with a little something different. What is it that makes it different?
Just different. It's got to be the first thing that's different is the shape. And I don't know about wood shape and wood types and stuff. I'm not that knowledgeable about it, but it's got to be something with how this thing is cut.
I agree.
Speaking big thing here, big thing back here.
Yep.
So yeah, get that strap if you don't mind, Roto.
I'm gonna get the strap. Hang on.
Got a little cool thing that you can do with an Explorer that you cannot do with a lot of other guitars. So I got this strap on the guitar here, and Ricky Medlock is the one who kind of showed me this, and he was the one that I saw doing it most. Ricky, actually, interesting note. Ricky Medlock's Destroyer, the one on all the Blackfoot videos, is actually an Ibanez Destroyer. It isn't an Explorer at all.
Fascinating. Now, for those who are not initiated into the cult of Ricky Medlock, which is a worthy cult.
Yes, it is.
He was one of the founding members of Lynyrd Skynyrd.
He was the first drummer in Skynyrd.
Fascinating guy. And he then went on to form a band called Blackfoot, which Phil knows a little.
Which if you're not familiar with Blackfoot other than Train and Highway Song, you really need to go back. They were definitely the most metal of the Southern rock bands, and there's some absolutely kick-ass stuff in there, so killer. So anyway, Ricky, I'm going to demonstrate this. I might cut my head off, but it doesn't matter. The guitar is the most important part. So here's like this, right? Now with the Explorer, you can do something cool like this right here. And what this does is it does kind of tilt the guitar back, actually makes it even more playable. So a lot of times when I have the Explorer on, I will tilt it. I will do this, and it kind of just, as you can see, it kind of pulls it back towards you like that. So
awesome.
Cool little thing that Explorers do that probably can't do with anybody else.
Now, talking about cool things and Explorers, we have an Explorer here that has gone down in history as well. And why has it gone down in history? Well, because it was the type of Explorer that a very significant figure in rock guitar played.
This is immediately. This is the Shark, the EV8 Shark, another Ibanez Destroyer that he chopped up. It was not an Explorer, it was an Ibanez Destroyer. And as you can see, he did his own custom chainsaw work on it.
Let's plug that puppy in.
All right, here we go. So yeah, this does actually sound quite different. It has a different growl, obviously because it's all cut to pieces. This part's rounded off, that part's obviously different. But they, EVH and Fender, they made this guitar just like Ed's with the mismatched tuners and everything was gold and chrome tuners up
so
here.
Cool.
Yeah, everything is pretty much just like it.
Even sweet guitar!
I know, right?
Wow!
And it's white, and it does have a different growl. Switch doesn't work. But yeah, it's a fun guitar to play.
Tell us the story of how did Ed arrive at this butchered, beautiful, bodacious, badass, sweet guitar?
Why he did it, I do not know. There's a lot of pictures of them in club days of him playing a white Ibanez Destroyer. That's this guitar. Now, why he cut it up, I really don't know. I don't know the story behind that, but he did.
I think there's some quotes out there where he says, like, you know, I was just playing around, you know what I mean?
Which is what he did.
And I just made one cut too far, and then, holy shit,
So-
what am I going to do with this
So he did
thing?
this, and I've heard that after he cut it, he didn't like the sound of it anymore, and he borrowed Chris Holmes from Wasp. They were big buddies, and they'd kind of borrow gear from each other. And so the one he played after the cut, if there was one, was Chris Holmes.
Incredible.
Because oddly enough, he's like, that doesn't sound very good anymore. Well, it's got to be this big thing out of the back. But no, I like it. It actually sounded it didn't sound. It sounded more fuller than I thought, and a lot had more of a growl than I thought.
Okay.
It would have. So it's kind of. It does have a different tone, as you can, I'm sure, hear on the video.
So you've seen the Explorers, so you're getting an idea now of the range of these things. Now, look, we don't have an original 58 to show you, and that would be nice. Maybe we'll put up a nice little picture of it? Ding.
Maybe so.
But anyway, you've gotten an idea of what Explorers are, when they were created. Now, again, as we mentioned, many celebrated players play them. The Edge from U2 play them
Absolutely.
throughout the early days of U2, right? And you're thinking, oh, I thought it was a metal guitar. It's anything you want to be. Rick Nielsen ain't metal, and he plays the out of his Explorers, right? James Hetfield,
Alan Collins, like
from
you mentioned,
Leonard
from
Skinner, yeah.
Ricky Medlock also.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's a very special guitar, and if
Matthias Jabs from the Scorpions.
Yes, Matthias Jabs from Scorpions, of course. If you're looking for a guitar that's Les Paul-ish in terms of having power, but then maybe you also like that Les Paul Jr. thing where it's kind of a slightly more focused sound with maybe slightly tighter, punchier lows, you may get that out of an Explorer. I feel like that's what I get. But we also want to throw a shout out to the wonderful builders who have made the rest of the gear we're playing, and that includes, for me, I'm playing through a Badger 30 made by Suhr, John Suhr, S-U-H-R.
Yes,
You've
sir.
seen it, you know about it. Yes, they're that good. So you've gotten an idea about what a Gibson Explorer is, or for that matter, what a Hamer Explorer is, or an Ibanez Destroyer / Iceman, etc. You know, it's a family of shapes that all began in 1958 with the Gibson Company and Ted McCarty putting out two guitars in the same year, a Flying V and an Explorer, both space-age guitars.
Yes,
and
from the future.
Yes, now both have stood the test of time, but we also want to introduce you to some of the other gear we've been using today so you get an idea of, you know, where these sounds are coming from. And what might interest you is that I'm playing through a traditional tube amp, and Phil...
Playing through a Kemper Profiler.
That's right. Phil is...
Surprise!
Yes! Phil is playing through a Kemper Profile going through a Laney 212 powered cabinet.
Powered cabinet.
Gorgeous cabinet, backlit. Now, I'm playing through a Suhr, S-U-H-R, John Suhr, the master builder of both guitars and amps. This is his 30-watt Badger 30, absolutely lovely amp. And I've got a 112 serve cab. I mean, a 112 is producing a sound that typically you would expect out of a 212 or even a 412.
Yeah, that's one of the better 112s. Normally, to me, I can spot them, but that's massive.
It's
Sounds
really
great.
something. So I'm also going through a fleet of pedals here. Here, take a look at my pedals. You can see it starts with a TC Electronic Polytune. I've got a Dunlop. Thank you, Dunlop, for this beautiful mini wah.
Those little wahs are the greatest things in the world.
They really
They're
are.
hard with high heel boots, though. I will say that.
They are. Even with big shoes, they,
tough.
you know, a full-size rocker pedal has a little more ease. But anyway,
Yeah.
it fits on your pedal board. It's awesome. That's followed by the Big Ear Loaf, made by Big Ear Pedals right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Now, I'm not using these fuzzes right now, but I've got an Origin Effects Revival Drive Compact. Dude, sweet pedal.
Yes, thanks,
So
Alex.
good. Dunlop volume pedal, a couple other things. DC electronic modulator, the source audio collider, delay and reverb, and a Strymon Flint for reverb and tremolo. And Phil's setup is fascinating, so check this out.
I'm going directly into the Kemper with curly cable because I'm super old school. I would like to mention that I'm using a Michael Britt profile. Michael's just about the best you can find, in my opinion. His profiles sound so close and so close to the real thing. They're right here in your face. I'm using one of his 72 Marshall amplifier profiles. It just sounds just gorgeous.
Now, do you have any like effects pedals or something internally, a little delay, a little verb? What do you seize in that Brit profile, or is it all in the Brit profile?
It's on the Brit profile. Now, Michael does put some effects already loaded with it that you can turn on or off. The only thing I have on, the only thing I've had on the entire time is the reverb. So I've had no delay. No, there is an overdrive and compressor, but I have them turned off.
Now, interestingly, when Phil plays live, you'll see the Kemper on top of the Laney behind him, but down on the floor you have something as well. Would you explain what that is?
Which is the Kemper floor controller, so I can control and switch if I'm switching rigs or switching performances. I've got all that in front of me. It also has 4 buttons for that I can program effects, so I can turn these or add more like stomp box into my chain as well, in the front or back.
Fascinating. Modelers have come such a long way.
I don't know how it works. It's magic.
It's magic. Phil and I were talking about this earlier. Listen, if you're debating whether you should use a modeler profile or a tube amp, or use any of it. Use all of it. It's all good.
It's all good these days.
The debate about a modeler versus a tube amp, I don't really know that it really has much juice to it anymore. I mean, look, here's my big E chord. Here's Phil's big E chord. Here's the opening of Humble Pie's Stone Cold Fever. 3, 4. Sweet guitar! Thank you so much for joining Phil Shouse and myself, James Volpe Rotondi, you can call me Roto, here at Dude Sweet Guitar! It's our absolute pleasure to hang with you, to talk guitars with you, to talk about playing guitars on the road, at home, in the studio, on stage, whenever and wherever. And we're just so excited to bring more cool stuff. We've got more really sweet guitars to show you, different types of guitars within the same model type. We've got more lessons about how to play guitar harmonies, how to play interlocking guitar parts, the way rhythm and lead should really work together, which is not always as simple as you think. Okay, and we're just so happy to be here. Phil, talk to us about all this beautiful, we see these beautiful guitars behind us, but what's holding them up?
Look at these, we gotta thank our wonderful sponsor, Hercules Stands.
Thank you, Hercules.
Big thanks to Derek Frank over there at Hercules. Yeah, I can't think, I've had one Hercules stand for 20 years. So yeah, it's good. Their lifetime warranty, all these guitars are being held and supported by them, so big thanks to them over there. Like Roto said, we got more coming up. Check out our Patreon. Check out our Instagram and Facebook. We are Dude Sweet Guitar on everything. Email us at dudesweetguitar@gmail.com. Don't forget to click like and subscribe and comment down there in the comment section. Do all that stuff, and I think that's it. So we shall see you next time.
Thank you very much, and let's... Dude, sweet guitar.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.